Mennonite Church British Columbia exists to help congregations be missional, vibrant and healthy and connected, and to represent the Anabaptist perspective in British Columbia. We are a faith community of Christian churches with a passionate allegiance to Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord. Our purpose is to enable congregations to individually and collectively engage most fully in the mission of Christ.
For us, I see MCBC as being the supportive administrative hub. They help weave through legal issues and Societies Act stuff, insurance, etc., and then acts as a collecting place for resources to distribute and make the local congregations stronger.
I think MCBC exists to help congregations connect and to help our churches put together a united front, I think, for projects and ideas like how we relate to the Truth and Reconciliation Council, to broader ideas. It's great to have a united Mennonite face to put on those issues. And I think MCBC is the way that we can respond to those wider issues in the community, in our neighborhoods, in our province.
It's important for members to understand Anabaptism because it's a really radical form of faith. It always has been. And it's very easy in our current context to just become complacent in our faith.
And as Anabaptist Mennonites, we're saying it's the life of Jesus that helps us to understand who we are as people of God. And so the life of Jesus includes Jesus' teachings, Jesus' parables, Jesus' miracles, his working with the poor and disenfranchised, his caring for those who were outcasts in society, and all those other things that we read about in the four Gospels. Palmer Becker has written a great pamphlet called What is an Anabaptist Christian? And he identifies three core values: that Jesus is the center of our faith, that community is the center of our life, and reconciliation is the center of our work.
For me, it feels very much just like what Christianity is, but I think it does have a lot to offer the wider Christian community in North America and in the world. I think there are people for whom it is a movement, who have seen some of the things that Anabaptism does well and been inspired by that and work to incorporate that into other traditions, and I think that's great to see.
Missional sometimes gets a bad rap because we're not sure, like, is this a real word or a pretend word, and so we're not. I think it's a good word. I like what it points us to, and I think it's fairly simple. It talks about how do we live our lives in the real world. How do we follow Jesus in our day-to-day activities? How do we live as reconciled people who've been reconciled with God and invite others to that reconciliation that builds a relationship again with God, the good Creator, and also reconciliating with neighbors and with enemies, which is even harder, and with all of creation. So being missional means living as Jesus people in the world around us, acting out those things that Jesus acted out and invited us to act out.
MCBC is continuing to help us stay focused on that missional conversation, is encouraging us to get involved with Forge Canada, with whom we have a partnership, and also just recognizing the missional things that are already happening in our churches. My favorite example here is Peace Mennonite, which has a bi-weekly community meal where they've expanded out a long-running food bank program, and they have combined it with a community meal where people from the church come in and cook the meal and act as hosts for each table, and then they've got lots and lots of people from the community just coming in to eat together and to form fellowship around the tables.
We want to listen well to the congregations to hear what it is that congregations need and try and be a resource for the health of the congregations as well as for helping pastors to be healthy. So we care about basically healthy congregations and healthy pastors.
MCBC helps resource and assist pastors by providing pastoral mentors and training groups where we can connect with one another and share some of the joys and the sorrows of pastoring. And MCBC also provides really important training, especially the relationships with integrity training that works to make sure that abuse of any sort doesn't happen within our congregations.
Well, our goal at Columbia in terms of really trying to help develop these healthy congregations is to develop disciples of Jesus Christ. What we want to see is people who are committed to following Christ and his kingdom vision of shalom, reconciliation in all areas of life. And while we train pastors and we train youth workers and worship leaders, it's not just about the people who are up front in church, but we want every student who comes into contact with the college to be able to leave with a better understanding of who God is and what the Bible has to say for our challenges in the 21st century.
One of the ways in which MCBC builds connections between and within congregations is the opportunities provided for the office administrators and secretaries to meet together about every other month. We have also chosen to have retreats where alumni are welcome to join us. These have been held at Camp Squia and MCC's guest house in Abbotsford. Some of us even joined the Camp Squia Paddle-a-thon one year. I believe connections are also built when we hear of the prayer needs from the other congregations and news and notes stories of what's happening in our BC circle.
The church I pastor has been positively impacted by the work of MCBC, partly through the work of Brander MacDonald and getting to understand some of the Indigenous issues here in BC a bit better, also by providing resources for myself and our administrative assistant Monica and our associate pastor Greg. As we started in our roles, they were very good about providing us with support and continue to connect us with other pastors and administrative assistants, so we don't feel isolated in our positions and are able to work more effectively because of that.
My hope for Mennonite Church BC is that we can live into the vision statement that we've adopted as our own. And the vision statement that we have, that we've said this is who we want to be, is that God calls us to be followers of Jesus Christ, and by the power of the Spirit to grow as communities of grace and joy and peace, so that God's healing and hope flow through us to the world. I think that's as simple as it needs to be and as profound as it needs to be, that we're called by the Trinitarian God to be all that we can be, to present God's love and justice and hope and healing to the world around us.
My greatest hope for MCBC churches is for each congregation individually to recognize the value we have in being a part of a larger Anabaptist community network. The sum truly is larger than the individual parts, and we are better together.
We are MCBC.
And we are MCBC.
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 We are MCBC.